know I made original plans that cartoon movie crisis is where I'm going to review several other bad movies, but after reviewing movies like Home Alone 4 and the Emoji Movie, I really didn't have the energy to make more reviews. To be honest, it's really difficult to review a bad movie after another. As for Cartoon Crisis that I did last year, that was a different story, considering the fact that, well, I had to handle 22 or 11-minute episodes. The movies, on the other hand, I have zero experience, well, the low experience, but I don't really have the good knowledge of reviewing movies that easily because you have to watch them again and again to understand them. But for my future schedules, it's just gonna be reviewing a bad movie once in a while. I can't handle reviewing movies one after another again and again afterwards. It's just painful. I'm just laying that out, so if anyone is gonna request me for reviewing a terrible movie, it's gonna be in the future. But not anytime soon. What can I say about the Woody Woodpecker movie that came out at the end of last year? Well, I wouldn't say that it's one of the worst movies out there, but I can say that it's probably one of the worst cartoon adaptations I've ever seen. Well, a cartoon and human crossover, kind of like U-Tunes Back in Action and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But unlike those movies, well, they actually try to put some effort into it. This movie is just low and rushed effort. Now, to be honest, I never watched Woody Woodpecker before. The only thing I know of him is that Woody Woodpecker 5 review from the Angry Video Game World from his Bugs Bunny review, Crazy Castle. And that's literally all I can think of Woody Woodpecker. I did some research that he's one of the most popular cartoons back in the 40s and 50s, I think. But making a movie about him, what can go on? It's basically what people at Universal Studios is thinking about when they first made this movie. And I have to be honest, no one asked for a Woody Woodpecker movie to begin with, because by this point, the franchises like U-Tunes, well, the U-Tunes show is completely done and over with, and other cartoons from the past is pretty much dead, except with Tom and Jerry and Scooby-Doo. There's really no point to have a cartoon and live action meet again, like a great crossover. To be honest, I really enjoy those crossovers, but nowadays it's probably dead. And it's probably going to show when this movie is over. Anyway, this is Willy Woodpecker, the movie. The movie begins with these two savage hunters trying to hunt down a bird. And this is where we get to meet Willy Woodpecker. And considering the fact that this isn't, they're not going to do 2D animation like they did, well, not really what they did, but like what Warner Bros. Did with their movies, Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Back in Action, well, we get this. Yeah, it's one of those infamous movies where the Smurfs, Loki the Bear, and all those terrible adaptations need to have CGI. And my god, Willy Woodpecker looks really difficult to watch in CGI. What makes it worse is that his character is completely different. Now, for what I heard, the cartoons made Willy a very hilarious and kind of a redeemable character, and he wasn't that annoying. In the movie, however, man, he does a lot of pop culture references and so many one-liners. It's like he's trying to get in the screen and get a lot of screen time as much as he can, even though he's given enough screen time. But, oh my god. Believe me, this movie has always solid, and we're just getting to the worst bits of this movie. Since it's pretty much obvious that Woody Woodpecker can't handle a movie by himself, we have to have a subplot about family bonding. Yes, Tommy, who is part of a band, and his father decides not to get along with him, and then they decide to go on a camping trip. And while that's happening, they're also going to build a house where Woody Woodpecker is living. Yeah, it's one of those movies. Like I said, Lance, who is the father, by the way, is going to make a house which is gonna be completely blue. I'm not kidding. I mean, like blue, but it's kind of a weird way to design a house this way. I don't know how house designs works, but for all I know, this movie isn't really doing anything to make it more dated and stuff. Believe me, it's just getting really redundant every time. I watch a movie about a person moving into the woods, and then when something happens, the animals try to stop them. So anyway, Woody managed to meet the three characters, and what does he do? In order to have these guys get away from his forest, he decides to fall on them and also crap on their heads. I'm not kidding. Instead of the slapstick humor and those ideas that make the cartoons really enjoyable, this movie has nothing but fart jokes. A lot. Seriously, just watching this is just really insulting for anyone who watched Willy Woodpecker. But believe me, they really made Willy Woodpecker completely psychotic and a serial killer in this movie. You may not understand, but when we get to those scenes, I'll explain to them, and you might understand. Tommy goes to an instrument store so he can buy a guitar because he wants to be part of a band, and then the guard says they can keep the guitar if he joins her band. Yeah. And here's the problem that I have to discuss in this movie. Again, since that Woody Woodpecker can't handle a movie by himself, we had to have subplots go around the way in this movie. And to make things even more complicated, the band thing isn't even involved with the rest of the plot. I mean, it's just a side plot. The biggest thing that I don't like about cartoon and humans being together is back then, even though that I enjoy them, I still think that completely having subplots into them really don't fit with the cartoons being in the human world at the same time. I mean, it just really shows that they're just filling up just to make it so that this movie can be a movie that is an hour and a half. That's it. And here's another thing that I really can't stand about this movie is that it's very, very fast-paced. When two boys decide to pick on Tommy for some reason, yeah, they just decide to pick on Tommy for no reason. They're probably just bored at something, so they have to do something. Willy Woodpecker saves the day by completely stripping the bully's clothes off, leaving their underwear on for revenge. And then, without any conversation, when all we get is just Tommy saying that you went all MMA on them, and then Woody's just like, I'm only doing this for the free food, and then we just cut to the forest. I'm not kidding. There's no conversation or actual friendship between Woody and Tommy. This is how the entire scene has played out. Yeah, if this is what future cartoons crossover into reality looks like, then I really don't think I can really enjoy these movies, because this just proves to me that that kind of style of movie production is completely dead. Really, really and dead. And we're not even halfway into this movie. Like I said, some of the majority of this movie is just Woody Woodpecker completely causing havoc on so many construction people who's just making the house. I know the company that Lance has owned is probably a building company when they take down trees and stuff, but I think all they're doing is just building one house. That's it. So why is Woody Woodpecker thinking that completely destroying their home is going to solve anything? In fact, even if he would move, it's probably the only option. And the fact that this is really what the movie is going to be is really completely torturing everyone, then this just really proves to me that Woody Woodpecker is easily one of the most laziest movies of all time. And oh boy. When Woody Woodpecker tortures the people, it's not even funny. It's actually psychotic and completely hard to watch. When Lance and his wife completely went into the car and have a conversation. Woody Woodpecker moves the cement thing, or whatever you call it, and it pours cement inside the car, completely destroying the car. Yeah, I'm not kidding. And if you think that's way more insane, then look at this. He even filled the RV with gasoline, and then when the girl completely turned on something that involves fire, it completely explodes the bus. I'm not making this up. I am very serious. How is this supposed to be funny? And is this supposed to be entertaining? No. It made Woodpecker completely out of his mind. And the worst thing is that Woody Woodpecker is the only character from the cartoons that actually appeared in this movie. He's the only one. Could you imagine if the other characters from the shorts and cartoons completely being part of this? It would probably make the movie way more insufferable, but come on. Woody Woodpecker destroyed, completely annoying everyone because he lives at the forest isn't going to solve anything. It's only going to make things worse for him, considering the fact that he completely blew up a bus and completely filled a car with cement. Seriously, if any Woody Woodpecker fans actually watch this movie, how can they easily accept with Woody being a psychotic monster against everyone? I don't care if the people are just making the house because that's where he lives. That's not the point. Oh my god. Halfway into this movie, and I can tell that things are just gonna get more stupider and more chaotic when we watch this movie more. Remember those two guys that we just saw earlier this movie? Well, they have returned because Lance demands them to completely take down Willy Woodpecker so they won't get annoyed by him ever again. And this really shows that even with the traps, they made Woody a complete troll. A troll to troll people no matter what. Well, they tried to set up a trap for him, but apparently that didn't turn out well because Woody the Woodpecker, being the most annoying one-liner in this entire movie, completely turns it around, backfires on humans, and even takes a picture of Lance completely electrocuted by lightning. I'm not kidding. For the love of God, I just want this movie to end. I don't care if it's fast-paced or anything. You're making this completely delayed for even more longer. It feels like this movie is fast-paced, but they just add unnecessarily deleted scenes to make it an actual movie. That's what I feel it is. Fast-paced deleted scenes movie of a lackluster movie about Willy Woodpecker. I hate it. And if you want to know how Willy and the humans completely become friends again, it's because, well, apparently Lance had to give him food, and that just somehow wins Willy over. I'm not kidding. Instead of an actual conversation on how he shouldn't build a house in the woods where Willy Woodpecker lives, food is pretty much the only option to have Willy completely side with them. That's it. That's really it. Oh my god. It feels like they have an idea to have a relationship going on, but with this movie so fast-paced and filled with so unnecessary deleted scenes, they had to have a lackluster... This movie really makes me speechless all the time. It really does. So anyway, we get a Pine Grove Firefly Festival. I'm really not a fan of festivals, but, well, apparently this movie needs one, so I guess we have to stick with it. And then we get to see the two hunters, who are the villains of this movie, by the way, try to find Woody the Woodpecker, but instead they decide to have ice cream. And then, I'm not making this up, I'm really not trolling you or giving you terrible imagery. This is what really happens in the movie.